get right into the dirt. How do you handle trolls? And do you get trolls?
Oh, how do I handle trolls and do I get them? Yes, every single day. How we handle them, usually a warning is usually the premises here. It's like, hey, could you please stop with the memes? Could you stop with, harassing the Discord or, putting up trolly songs? Usually the songs are like the first day of them being here. And then after that, it's we have fun with the ban hammer. It ends up coming out, and it's either we ban on Twitch or we do the 7-day ban on Discord, which we recently had one. Our first ban in, I don't know, 6 months.
Wow.
Yeah, we don't have a lot of bans really. It's usually a couple of warnings and people get upset and they leave. That's about it. But I mean,
cool.
First and foremost, if you guys ever decide to start streaming, or you're streaming now and don't have a large audience, always remember trolls are going to be around and they're usually watching. So if you come in on a game that's popular, or there's a theme, or you have a moment of excitement, someone's going to be there to try and stomp all over it, just to put it out there. So you usually have to prepare. Yes, you might see some negative attention or unwanted attention. It happens. It happens to all of us. Big streamers, the celebrity broadcasters, and those just starting out today. Yeah. Oh, we actually have a good question here, I feel, related to this. Have you been swatted?
Yeah, I was just going to ask you that one.
Oh, nice. I am lucky enough. I have not been swatted. However, I actually spoke with my local police department, and I had to I had to speak with the chief of police actually about this particular issue, and they were kind of surprised that it's a thing, because not everybody knows of Twitch. They don't know that there are people out there in this world making a living doing what we do as streamers, or making YouTube videos. They don't know that this is a thing. And especially the much older folks who may or may not even use the internet. If you don't use the internet, it's extremely understandable. You may not know Twitch. But I've never been swatted. I've had close friends of mine swatted. I've had streamers who I see as family. They've been swatted. And there's two ways it can go. You can be swatted and it becomes a joke. The police you go through the process and the police understand that you were actually attacked. That's what the SWAT is you were cyber attacked. And then afterwards, the outcome is you laugh it off and you move on, and you see it as an obstacle within the streaming career. Or like some of my really good friends who had a huge takeoff and were growing beyond belief because of what it did to their families while they were streaming, they quit streaming altogether. And it's one of those things where it ended their career because they didn't feel that their families were safe. If it was just them at home, they'd have laughed it off. But because their loved ones were there, or their children, or parents, grandparents had to take part in the SWAT itself, that can be a huge detrimental thing. And I mean, streaming first and foremost, also, like all of us, you either really are motivated to do it and nothing's going to get in your way, or you second guess your real, motivation. Are you wanting to do this? I enjoy playing video games and hanging out with you guys. I'm never going to give this up. If y'all tried to swat me, I'd just be calling my local police department like, hey guys, this is happening, and yeah, please find the person that did it. Advice to people who are just starting out for streaming: do it. Don't be afraid to click that start streaming button. And if there's anything you want to find out how to do, the internet is going to be your best friend. Why? You can literally Google or YouTube search anything. In the process of finding out, hey, how do I chroma key my colors in the background with that new C922 camera? How do I do that? You're going to come across not only your answer for that in the process of searching, you're probably going to come across 8 or 9 different other ideas that you can use to help your own broadcast. And this only makes your broadcast better because you choose what you want to do with it. What inspired me to start streaming? That's actually a good one. I had only heard about Twitch back in 2014, and my friends were like, "Dude, there are people on the internet totally banking. They're making a living off of Twitch. You should check this out, man." I was like, "What's Twitch? What are they doing?" "They're playing video games for a living." I was like, "No way. This is totally fake." Mom and Dad always said I'd never make a living playing video games. And sure enough, I came to Twitch. I started looking around, and I used it as my place to peruse games without purchase. I wanted to see what I'd get into before I checked it out. And I actually came across the first person I really enjoyed as a broadcaster, because I was watching different stuff every day, is my good friend and someone I look up to is Burke Black. Then it was just shortly after that, a couple of days later, I ended up seeing that he was hosting somebody. I didn't understand what it was until later, and that ended up being Co-Carnage. And then I started seeing other people outside of a clique, a group, the coalition. I started just seeing more groups outside of them, and it got me interested. I saw their chats, specifically those guys. Their chats were positive. They were a sense of community, and I've basically been behind Burke Black and his journey since I found him, which is like 3 years ago. So this is before I started streaming. I was on a potato computer at the same time. I had inherited my mom's compact. When that died, I actually ended up deciding, I was like, that's it. I'm going to college. I already know I'm going to have a little extra money. And I was working my butt off. But it took me something like 2 years of just saving up for money that I could actually do stuff with. And starting school gave me that leverage of, all right, I'm going to buy a PC that's just going to handle games for like the next 10 years. I'll never need a new PC again. And we're just going to go from there. So we did that, and then I was like, I kept watching Twitch every day, even on the new computer, and I was like, man, I'm being a dummy. I really keep telling myself I want to do this, so let's kick myself in the butt and learn the process. And it took me about 3 months to learn how to set up like broadcasting software like OBS or XSplit and fine-tune it to what I needed to make it all work and make my computer stop crashing. But I decided, I could do this too, and I dove head first, and I haven't looked back since.
So do you have a goal as a streamer, and what is it?
I set little milestones for myself, which was always like, reach 1,000, 3,000, 5,000, and I kind of figured, 10,000 was like the big number for me, and then it was like, okay, apply for partnership and get that sub button. And we kind of surpassed all our milestones, and we got a sub button now thanks to the affiliate program, which kind of shocked and surprised a lot of us, especially here on the platform, since they did away with the numbers. And it was saying, hey, you don't have to be that big broadcaster. We understand there's millions of you guys every day pouring your heart and soul into your everyday broadcasts, your full-time streams, and your community would like to support you. And finally, we have steps in the right direction. We're finally moving forward. And with that, like, I've finally been able to make ends meet in most times, like for every month, because my bills aren't large. They're not crazy and expensive. I live a decent life in a small apartment with my fiance, my 2 kids. It gets us by, and we never need for anything. We don't need, it's not like we need food or water. We've always had. But then when it comes down to like, hey, I'd like to play that new game, I always look at my budget, and it's, can I afford to do it this month? Have we reached enough in donations to purchase this game? Did I save enough over the past couple of months? Has the community even just like donated the game for us to stream? And I always take that into full consideration, just like TwitchCon. It's the same premises. If you can afford it, it's a good thing to push yourself and move forward. But if you can't afford it and your community isn't backing you on it, maybe you should always check the budget first.
Do you expect or want to achieve full-time streamer status as your primary source of income?
It would actually be a great thing to achieve that full-time streamer status as a primary source of income. That would be me living a dream, literally through friends of the Twitch community. This is a goal that I had started, and it's a big one, but it's achievable. And I know some of the biggest names and most upcoming streamers who have literally become larger than life have all said the same thing, and I've stuck by it. Starting into streaming, you either come from somewhere and you're known, or you start out. And it's one of those things where you decide, are you in it for the long haul? Are you in it for just the money? Or are you in it to affect people, make their days better? Maybe reach out and have another goal, another agenda, helping people any way you can, charity, reaching out to those in need, whether it's going to your local children's hospitals and stuff. For me, because I have kids, and reaching out through these charity organizations. That's where you weigh every decision. You decide. It comes down to like the weighing your decisions for foundation as a broadcaster. What do you want to be? And then your values as a human being. I would love for this to be a primary source of income because I know what I can do with it, especially with events we've done in the past. Since I started streaming, a lot of you don't know, I don't publicly post it anywhere, but I always let you guys know when we've raised a total for charity. And I've raised over 2.5 years, we've raised over $15,000 for charity. And that's through Game Changer, Operation Supply Drop, Stack Up, St. Jude, Extra Life, which is happening with Trove right now. Game Changer, who we just started working with at TwitchCon 2016 last year. We raised something like $5,000, like around the ballpark of $5,000 in December through 2 different charity events, multiple streamers, multiple big names, along with several small names, but everyone had a role. You were promoting it on your social media, you were reaching out, you were making sure equipment worked, you were having fun, you were even playing games with the person who was sitting on the front page for the charity, stuff like that. And that's kind of where, having a primary source of income, it would be nice. I can always go back and say it would be nice to make it. But I also understand everyone watching chooses their time accordingly. So time being precious on this platform, you took time to watch me, and that's the biggest thing ever. Then you took your time to follow us or subscribe or donate, and that was things I wouldn't expect of you guys. Why? I didn't ask for your guys' money. You guys decided to give it. And that makes myself, my family, extremely appreciative of what you guys have to offer to me as a streamer here and a community member on the Twitch platform.
So as a broadcaster, what are the things that make your broadcasting, the time that you invest broadcasting, what are the things that make that fun for you?
What makes the time I invest in what makes broadcasting fun for me? I'd say the engagement, the chat engagement is first and foremost for me the big energy boost, regardless of what's going on. Like, I see you guys typing in chat like crazy, and I want to respond, but we have our questions and answers, and I would rather engage with chat than sit and go through a game and just talk to nobody. Because then I feel like I'm by myself again. I'm just player one, flying solo, and no one sees me. Whereas since I started Twitch, I found out it's kind of like being in an arcade, which hence my community name, the Arcade. It's like all your friends are sitting there watching you, or folks who are interested in the game, and they're rooting for you to break that high score. It's kind of like that, and you get to connect with people in a different light. But besides that, we have we've got a soundboard, we have our webcams, so me actually reacting through my experiences, especially in the first playthrough of a game, is my big reaction for things, because I never like to spoil anything, especially if I'm having a genuine reaction to something. And that's where my adventure isn't just for me only. It's now shared with this entire community, this entire Twitch community.
How much do you groom your beard, and how much does Ploxfire have to donate for you to shave it off?
Ploxfire, it's priceless. If you want me to shave my beard, it's just not gonna happen. It's who we are on Twitch, which comes about with me essentially starting and asking a community I had started growing right away, beard or no beard, and everyone voted beard. We even had the threats of, I'm unfollowing and never coming back if you shave your beard. And I said, okay, we're not gonna do that anymore. We're not gonna shave anymore. So we stopped the shaving. It took a little time, but the wife, the game mom, she said okay, which was awesome because it grew on her. But as far as grooming my beard, I groom every single day. I shampoo and shower right when I'm washing my body and shampooing my hair. I shampoo and condition my beard.
Is the beard the thing that people identify you and your broadcast with?
It seems to the beard is definitely the identifier, I think, that people identify my broadcast with, because not only do you have me, essentially a wild man becoming native, you have this beard, this ridiculously glorious beard, and it was more wild than what it is now. It was huge. We trimmed it. It looks awesome, but it's definitely a topic of discussion. Usually when we have our broadcasts every day, someone new coming in, it's just like, oh my god, it's so glorious. My kids, my son is old enough to game. He's turning 5 this year, and being living with his grandparents for the time being, with the relationship he has with his grandfather, every time I see him, he's like, hey, I want to hang out and play games, but usually he's only here for like 15 minutes when the family's getting ready to go over to the grandparents for the day, stuff like that. Or usually he just wants to hurry up and leave the house to go back to the grandparents and basically get on the Xbox and either play, oddly enough, Grand Theft Auto. He knows how to run around and shoot stuff and pick up weapons, but that's about it. But he definitely enjoys Minecraft. He's a big fan of that, which is really cool. And just hearing in the beginning that he, learned how to use the controller to go to YouTube and then just put in toys so he could just watch videos on toys all day long is pretty cool. My daughter isn't old enough, though. She's not old enough yet. She doesn't grasp the concept. She's 3, so no gaming yet.
When they're old enough, are you looking forward to having them game with you?
Having my kids game with me, definitely. Due to the fact that that's actually how I got started in video games. My older brother, he's been awesome to me over the years, and even especially in my childhood. you know, having just my older brother to look up to for a lot of things. You know, he was the reason why I had so many NES games, 8-bit NES games, Super Nintendo games, Sega, and I was always jealous because he always had the next new thing, and it was my bonding experience with my brother. My mom got the idea, but she didn't really care for games. But it brought the family together, so it was one of those things where we could have family time without necessarily having to talk to each other over dinner, and it's been a great pleasure for me.